Go
Well,
record it, yeah.
all right.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, good deal. All right. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to do half as good of a job as Andrea does. She's so good at this, but I'll do my best.
Well, you and I can just talk too, like it together, because it's otherwise it's really awkward for me just to be sitting here
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah,
with my
waiting.
face.
Yeah, yeah. Uh,
Oh,
Go ahead and I'll start letting folks in.
okay.
All right. And let me give them
Oh, I
permission.
don't have the chat box on. Hold everything.
What's that?
I don't have the chat box showing, and I need to do that. So I have. There we go.
I'm going to have the chime playing. So, you know,
Okay.
Jacqueline, she left again. She must be having connection issues now. I'm gonna take away the ability for them to unmute themselves for fear of having a lot of that
Mm,
going. I'll remove the chime as soon as we start, and they'll be able to change their name. So, all right, let me go ahead and start letting folks in.
all right. And I put a little note in the chat box there.
They're not gonna see that until they come in, just so you know.
That's great. All right. Connecting to audio.
Welcome, Jacqueline.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, welcome. As you're coming in, you'll just see myself. I'm Erin, waving here. We'll be starting at the top of the hour. And Walter Crawford, one of the co-directors here, is also hanging out. So as you come in, go ahead and put in the chat box where you're coming from, what city and state, and what ages of children you homeschool. So go ahead and put in the chat box your city and your state and the number of children or the ages. Don't have to put their names, just the ages of the children. And I'm going to put my glasses on here and move it over so I can do that too. So go ahead, and I'm Erin from Kalamazoo, Michigan. Just spell Michigan right. All right, and I homeschooled 10 of my 13 children, all now adults. All right. So go ahead and put in the chat box. And there's Walter just chatted too in Keller, Texas. 6 kids from 3 to 18. My kids are 19 to 37. So go ahead and put in the chat box so we know just where we're coming in from all over the United States. And oftentimes we have people from overseas. From, I think the last open house we had someone from the Philippines and Canada. And although I don't consider Canada out of the States, but it is. But we're just real close here in Michigan.
And in case you're wondering where the chat might be, and that might be the case, as you're looking at the screen that's being shared, at the bottom of your screen, you might see, and this is for those that are on computers. If you're on a mobile device, it might look slightly different for you, but at the bottom, you should see a toolbar if you hover your mouse over there at the bottom, and chat will be one of the options, and you can click on it, and there you'll be able to message the larger audience. So
Awesome. Hi, Maureen. I know you.
I think I know her.
I think I know you. Good to have you here. Oh, go ahead. Where in Michigan are you? I'm in Kalamazoo, southwest corner, Michigan. Sherry from Kalamazoo. Oh, hi. Oh my gosh. I don't think I've had someone from Kalamazoo at an open house in years. I love it. Hello, hello. It's so good that you're here. Oh my goodness. That's great. Walter, do you want to talk about how someone can change their name?
Absolutely. And I'm glad you mentioned
Maureen has her kids' names on there. Whoever was on Zoom last, I think, is who shows up on the Zoom naming.
it's sometimes the whatever however works. I'm not entirely sure, believe it or not. But if you want to change your name, all you'll need to do is hover your mouse over your name in the participant panel. And if you may be asking yourself, well, where's that? Like the chat, if you click on the participant panel at the bottom there, you'll be able to, or the participant button, you'll be able to see your name and everyone else's name. name in particular. And if you hover over your mouse over your own name, you'll have an option to rename yourself. And so if you want to change your name, in case, like in Maureen Ryan's case, who came in as a different person under Cassie Joseph, it might be an option for you, so we'll be able to call your name, call upon you, especially when we have questions. You know, we're gonna
Yeah.
have you ask some questions. We want to make sure that we're addressing the right person when your question's being asked.
Right. So as you come on, I'm hearing the ding when people come in the room. I don't think you guys can hear, but remember to remember to change it back, Maureen, for your kids. As you come in the room, go ahead and put where you are, what city and state, and the ages of your kids that you're homeschooling. So, or that you're looking at the program for. So go ahead, again, chat box down at the bottom, and put in where you're in from, what city, what state, or if you are from overseas, let us know. Here at Homeschool Connections, it's really wonderful because we often have students from Europe, all over Europe, and um, South Africa, and I'm trying to think of places, Taiwan, China, Philippines, Vietnam, places where I've had students in my classes from overseas, New Zealand and Australia, um, Italy, I think, Portugal. So it's really fun to have Ireland. I think one of the open houses we had recently also had a couple families from Ireland. So it's wonderful to be able to rub shoulders with people from all over the world. We're going to start at the top of the hour. We're just chatting. If you're coming in now, we're just chatting. Beforehand, I'm Erin. Walter is not coming on camera tonight, but you can see his little avatar there on the side. And again, put in the chat box where you're from, what city, what state, and how many kids you're homeschooling, or the ages of the kids you're homeschooling. Walter, do you want to tell anything about the system here, about Zoom and how it works with
Yeah,
class?
absolutely. So, first off, welcome to those of you who just arrived in the room.
Mm-hmm.
We're just inviting folks to tell us where you're located and maybe how many children you have, maybe their ages. As you might have seen as you entered into the room, as someone was typing in. And if you don't see any posts in there, it's only because you came in after they made their post. But this is our meeting room platform for not only tonight, but it will be for the foreseeable future with our classes. So some of you may be intimately familiar, maybe you're not, but you will be. You may be a little bit more closer to Zoom now than, and certainly will be if you decide to sign up for classes with us if you haven't already done so. But Zoom is going to be our platform of choice, and for a lot of reasons, but namely because we love the audio and the video capabilities that come with the platform. But this is the platform that we have for all of our classes. And concurrent with that, we have someone like myself in the room called a course monitor who assists each instructor with the technology that we use. So that way the teacher is able to focus on the content and the students are able to focus on the content. And then there's someone else like a course monitor like myself this evening who would be there as another adult in the room to help maintain the technology support that's necessary, but also to make sure that the students are focused on the content at hand. It's really important for us to have that. As some of you have already discovered, there's a chat tool at the bottom, and that chat is usually active during class. But we do, in many cases, will have the chat singularly focused on so that the students can ask questions of the teacher, and that's the extent of it. So it depends on the instructor, depends on the need for conversation and chat. But it is an option that we'll certainly use tonight, and we use in all of our classes. Additionally, you may also notice in the participant panel, if you haven't already clicked on that, you can see the list of names that have already come into the room. If you click on that, you'll notice at the bottom of that, you'll see some emoticons there. I like to call them, where you have a green check mark and a red X for yes and no. And if you click on these, you're certainly welcome to do so. But then you have the go slower, the go faster. You might even see a raise hand option for yourself. So that would be in the event of students would want to ask a question of the teacher. We also have the ability to support all the students on camera with this new platform. So students will have the ability to engage like it would be in a normal classroom. So while the teacher is the only one being recorded, I might add, during the class, that the students would be able to be on camera so that the teacher can engage the students and the students can engage the teacher in real time. So it's a wonderful platform. We're really excited about using it going forward, and we think it's going to be a real win for the engaging experience that all of our classes aspire to offer. But yeah, we're excited that you're here this evening. Thank you all for joining. I know that some of you just joined. Again, we're just inviting folks to type in chat where they're located and how many children that they are homeschooling. Also, if you hover over your name, you want to change your name because maybe it's not coming up right. In the participant panel, click on that. You click on your name and you'll be able to rename yourself. So
I also noticed that I can see some video. I don't know if anyone else can see video at this time, but we're not going to be using audio or video tonight. There's a little, if you hover over the bottom, you can turn your video off, and your mic is off as well. And Walter, I don't know if you can focus it just on me, but I know that other videos were coming up as well. So
yeah, that's a great point. So in the upper right corner, everybody, you'll notice where the PowerPoint is. You'll see a couple of options. You'll see a speaker view, or it may even be defaulting to gallery view for you. Speaker view will be the view that allows you to focus on Aaron this evening. Um, Gallery view allows you to see not only the primary presenter, or in this case Aaron, but you'll also be able to see everyone else that would be on camera in the room. But Aaron yeah, the way it is toggled, and that's a feature that's up to you. It's a feature that's up to you and what you want to see and who you want to see.
awesome.
So yeah, if you haven't already done so, please let us know where you're located. It looks like we have a lot of folks from the Midwest and even from the South, it looks like. So, and we even have some representation from Colorado, my favorite vacationing spot. I live in Texas, so it's Colorado is our reprieve from the heat that we tend to have here in the summer. So it's
Nice.
going up there when we get a chance.
I see, I feel like Romper Room. Anybody remember Romper Room? Hi, Jennifer from Southern Maryland. Good to have you here. The Arnold family's Pennsylvania. I love Pennsylvania. I think it's beautiful. Shawnee, Kansas, Hammond, Louisiana, Cleveland, Ohio, Enid, Oklahoma, Denver. Jacqueline is coming from Denver. Let's see, Maureen's in New York. And Sherry from Kalamazoo, where I am. And I'm so excited to have somebody from Kalamazoo here. Again, go ahead and put in the chat box. Just it helps me to know how many kids you're homeschooling, maybe the range in age. And it's just fun to know where you're from too. So go ahead and put that in. We're going to be starting in about 3 minutes. This is going to run about an hour and 15 minutes. The last minutes are questions. If you have questions, we will be taking questions. If you have questions that are pertinent to what we're talking about right now, and it fits in really well for me to talk with you about those questions, put that in the chat box, and I'll try to answer it right then. If I know it's coming up, I might just hang on to that question. And Walter, if you could watch the chat box and just jot down some of the questions that maybe I miss, or it wasn't the best time for that question, okay? That way at the end, we'll make sure we cover all the questions and make sure we get to answers to you tonight. Well, Alicia's from Nebraska.
And I would add, everybody, as everyone's beginning to come in, we're really excited about this evening. If you can make you have a lot of control over what you're viewing, and I think I've kind of hinted at that a little bit. But for example, I can see Aaron in the middle part of my screen, the PowerPoint to my left, and the chat and the participant panel off to my right. And you can maximize your view. If you click right next to the speaker view, you'll see a little box. It's kind of like a disjointed or disconnected box with the corners visible but nothing else, not the sides. Yeah. That allows you to change if you're in full screen or in kind of not full screen, as it were. But additionally, and if you choose to go not full screen, or maybe even if you do full screen, what have you, there's a bar that separates the PowerPoint and the video that Aaron is, and it's right between them. And you can move that bar to the left and the right if you want to see Aaron in larger array and then the PowerPoint smaller. So you have a lot of a lot of controls at your fingertips to help it be the best possible experience for you this evening and for classes going forward, as we'll be using this in the fall, in summer, fall, and spring.
How many of you, we're going to be starting in just a minute, how many of you, put in the chat box, if you will, you've used Homeschool Connections classes before? If you have, just jot in with whether it's been live or recorded or whatever. If it's brand new, you've never heard anything about Aquinas Writing Advantage, this is just something you're checking out, put that in too. Again, this will help me to know just who's here and how to tailor exactly what I'm talking about to the people who are here and what you need. So first year, this will be recorded, yes. First year at Homeschool Connections, use the recordings, live classes with Kevin O'Brien, brand new, excellent, yay. First year, live and recorded, lots of recorded. We're going to talk about that, Therese, yep. New but not homeschooling, all right, awesome. First year Homeschool Connections, excellent. That really helps me out just to be able to tailor, you know, and welcome to those who are brand new to homeschooling. So excellent. Oh, you took the study test taking skills, the excellent student class. Wonderful. That's great. All right. Well, I know that people are still coming in, but we're going to go ahead and start. This will be recorded. So if you've come in later, you'll get the recording. We'll say that maybe again a little bit later, Walter, right? So Walter, if you're ready, I'm ready to go.
I am ready, and we are recording, so let's get to it. And just so you know, Aaron, you will no longer hear the chime of people coming and going.
Got it. All right. Well, welcome everyone to the open house for Aquinas Writing Advantage. I'm Erin Brown. I am the creator / manager / supervisor, all around helper person of the writing program. This has been a wonderful labor of love for 8 years to develop this program, this full writing program for you with about 40 courses that focus on middle and high school writing. And tonight we're going to talk not just about the writing program here, although we are doing that. I want to also leave you today and tonight with some very special tips and tricks and understandings about curriculum, about writing and teaching and learning that you can take right to your teaching and learning tomorrow, things that you can understand as the teacher / director leader of your homeschool, and also just writing tips that you can help your teens with. So again, welcome, and let's begin. Let's pray together in the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Thank you, God, for tonight. Thank you for this program and all that you have done here, and all that you've developed and are still doing in our lives through Aquinas Writing Advantage program. I just pray that tonight could be a night of clear communication, of clear understanding, that you'll help us to really connect together, and that just what's here can be a gift and a help to the families that are looking into it. I pray all of this in the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen and amen. Tonight I'm going to share with you what makes a good writing program, and also, like I said before, details about Homeschool Connections Aquinas Writing Advantage program, and particularly why this is different from anything else out there. And I think that's one of the biggest questions that people say, well, what makes this different? Why is this program something that would help me out where, as opposed to this other program or this program over here? So we're going to talk about those things. Let me see, I'll make sure my cursor's on there. You're going to get answers to your questions. So if you have questions, make sure you jot them down or put them in the chat box, or we can ask them at the very end, or if it's appropriate during our presentation. You're also going to get more about specific courses. We will talk about specific courses. And learn about why certain course designs are easy to follow and others aren't. So I am a curriculum designer of about 25 years. I've taught at 3 universities, writing programs, and I was the curriculum developer for a major university in the United States, Western Governors University, in curriculum in communications, which is writing and critical thinking, and have developed programs, advanced placement programs, and public school programs, and private programs, and everything in between, and online. And so this program here is my heart. It is something that I developed not only for my children. I raised 13 children, 10 who were homeschooled, 8 who were adopted internationally. And so they came from a different background and needed some extra help with language and learning and writing and communication. And so this was something that I just really, really had on my heart to do for my kids and for others. Also, as a college writing instructor at 3 different universities, I saw students come in who were not prepared for college, or who thought they were great writers, but really weren't, or were missing some major pieces of writing or how-tos of writing. And so all of that was kind of poured into, wow, we just really need to prepare our students better for writing and to become writers who love to write, enjoy writing, and can do well with writing and communicating. So we're going to talk about that here. You'll get writing tips to give your student writing skills faster, and learn how you can more fully prepare your student for writing in the future. We're going to get information here on how to use the writing courses if that's something you want to do. But if it isn't, if you watch this and you just take away those tips and tricks and helps for choosing curriculum and using curriculum and what you should be looking for, then I'll be completely happy. I would love for you to join me here, but I think whatever you can take, it's just a fabulous thing tonight that you're here. Most of all, you're going to find out how these online courses use simple technology, and you can add that to what you're doing right now. That is what we're doing here, how you clicked in the class, and how we're having a presentation and the chat box and talking with the monitor. In this case, it was Walter Crawford, one of the co-directors of Homeschool Connections. At the beginning, all of this is part and parcel to what we do with online classes. And so you can see it's simple. It was simple to get in, and it's simple to access what we have here. We can talk later about the learning management system and the simplicity of that's the place where we house our courses and clicking into that. But again, very, very simple access. There's also a writing assessment that's available where you can find out how your high school student is doing with writing in relation to first-year college skills. What needs to happen to get to those first-year college skills, and see exactly what do we need to work on. So that's here as well. We're going to talk about that later. It's all part of Homeschool Connections. This is a full online Catholic curriculum provider of online courses, especially designed for parents who want their students to learn from college professors and experts in the field. Now, Walter, you were talking beforehand. Not everybody was here, so I'm going to have you. This is Walter's picture. And Maureen Whitman are the co-directors here at Homeschool Connections. And Walter, you want to come on and say hi again for those who joined us later?
Yeah, hi everyone. Again, it's Walter Crawford, and I am, as Erin pointed out, one of the co-directors here at Homeschool Connection. She's about to get to a slide that introduces me and my family and whatnot. The picture you see here was taken quite a while ago, so I've lost
You look the same. You look the same.
But we are glad that you're here this evening to take a look at what we're up to with regard to the Aquinas Writing Advantage program.
Thank you, Walter. And so Homeschool Connections has been here for over 10 years, 12 years?
Yeah, we're in our 12th year, yeah.
12th year as the premier Catholic online course provider in the world with, as you'll find out later, over 450 online courses available. We'll talk more about that in a minute, but we don't have that picture in this open house. Walter, you're waiting for the picture of you and your kids. That's in the general open house. So this is it. We don't get to show your kids in this open house. If you visit the general open house where you learn all about homeschool connections and how that works and all of the other subject areas, you can do that too. This is focusing purely on the writing program tonight. All right, so I'm going to jump right into what's wrong with most writing programs today. And I can say this again as a curriculum developer and a former college writing professor and a book author and a professional writer of over 25 years. Just being able to work with students for over 40 years. Yes, I'm that old. And being able to work with students in writing, in reading, in learning, all across the spectrum, and to measure out the curricula. And as homeschooling parents, you do this too, right? You look at it and you say, well, what is this? Why is this way? Why is this way? And why is one maybe better for me than another? And again, for me is an operative word here because each family is unique and each student is unique. But there are certain principles across teaching certain subjects that are universal and archetypal. And so what's wrong with writing programs is the question that I bring up because, my goodness, there's a lot going on that people have said over the years, I can't find a good writing program. My student doesn't like writing, or my student loves writing, but I can't get enough. We kind of stop and it's boring. Just all kinds of reasons out there why writing is kind of getting a bad rap right now. There are just a couple major writing programs for homeschoolers out there and nothing else. And we'll talk about how just certain pieces of a writing program have to be there in order to be successful in college. So even the most highly marketed homeschool writing programs may not be the best program out there. I just want to throw that out because as homeschooling parents, again, I homeschooled for, let's say 34 years, for a long time. And in that, there were a lot of things that I bought and I started using, and I would say, wait, this isn't what I thought it was, right? Or this isn't quite working. Or my student hated it. I thought it was cool, and my student didn't like it at all, right? And so all of those dynamics are very normal when you're looking at curriculum, even for public or private school teachers, when we have to kind of dig in and see what's going on. And marketing, or just getting it out in front of people, there can be some really great marketing, but the program isn't as good as the marketing. Many of the teaching methods are actually teacher-centered, not truly student-centered. We'll talk about that in a moment. Again, as a curriculum developer, I can say that I can kind of be critical on myself and my field. And just because a program sells doesn't mean it's the best. And that's kind of the hardest thing, because something can be a bestseller and it's really not a good thing. I don't know if you've picked up a book before, because everybody says, oh my goodness, it's a bestseller. And you start reading and saying, I have no idea why this is a bestseller. It's kind of like that. So just because a student learns to write doesn't mean he or she finds it easy to write or loves to write, which is tough. In the end, it's really about creating a student who actually loves writing and can do it well, right? Because I know people who can write well, but they don't love it, or they love writing, but they don't do it well. So we want to have both qualities. In general, people don't like any activity where we don't get it, where we feel like we're missing something. If I were to try to learn how to do curling or some other sport that I've never done before, I would feel really awkward. And I really wouldn't like that experience very well, probably, because it's not something I'm comfortable with. Same thing with writing. Most students are not comfortable with writing because they don't know how. It's not about writing. It's about their ability to write and know the secrets of writing and how to make writing easy. And again, I've just not seen curriculum out there that makes writing really easy and good for getting into college and feeling super confident with that writing level. In other words, we don't like activities where we feel ignorant, and certain teaching methods increase that dynamic of feeling ignorant or feeling dumb. Most writing programs are incomplete, increasing a student's feelings of inadequacy. So again, it's really not the student's fault that they don't like writing. It's the curriculum's fault. And again, being hard on myself as a curriculum developer, there's just a way that curriculum needs to be presented so that the student really learns to love what's going on. So in any educational experience, how we teach is important, and what we teach is important. The how we teach it, how it's parsed out, and how it's measured out in the books or in the classes, very important. Who's doing that teaching, who the individuals are, what they're like when they're on camera or when they're presenting, very important. And being aware of how students learn. And then the content, the actual content is critical. You know, what's inside of the program, what's actually being taught. So how we teach and what we teach are both ingredients are needed to create great writers for a great writing program. For example, let's just take something called rote learning. Rote learning is in writing, kind of a fad or a part of writing where it's copy this. They call it copy work. You've heard of that before. And it's write exactly as I do, exactly copy. And if you copy this person's words or way or method over and over and over, you will internalize it. This is a philosophy. You will internalize it and then begin to write well. Okay, there are a lot of things wrong with that. Rote work has a purpose, but as far as learning, it is only one very small sliver of how we learn. Rote learning does not teach the student to think first. And we don't use rote learning in Aquinas Writing Advantage at all. Just heads up, putting it out there. We are more into what's called ideation and mastery learning. So mastery learning looks like this. You think about one piece of a learning process and we say, how does this piece work? For example, if I'm taking the piece of a thesis statement, okay, how does a thesis statement work? Well, it's a claim, right? We're claiming or asserting something. There's an assertion or claim, a point that we're making, and there are 4 parts to it. So you see what I'm doing? Immediately, I'm breaking that down into one little thing, a claim with 4 pieces. And we teach geographically bound element. Where is this happening? In the world, in the United States, in Europe, in history, across all of history. That's part of a thesis statement. The time bound element, you know, when, today, over the past 100 years, right? That's another element. So we have a geographically bound element, a time bound element. And then we have what's called the blueprint, which is what are the chunks or pieces of what you're writing? What's the keyword or the keyword phrase? What's this whole piece about, right? We learned that in the 5-paragraph essay, that those are the 3 internal paragraphs. What's the first paragraph about? I'm gonna put that in here. What's the second paragraph about? Put that in that thesis statement. And so my groups of ideas are labeled, and that label goes into the thesis statement. Okay, do you see how it's very much a process of thinking, what are the pieces and how are we going to put those together? I'm learning about this one thing, thesis statement, right? And then how does this work? By the way, the 4th part is the qualification, or the although statement, I like to call it, which is in the upper. This is something we do in college writing. It's the argument, the other side. So if I'm arguing that abortion is murder, okay, pretty intense topic. I might say, although abortion is legal in X places, and then I go on to say, because my argument, the number one argument, well, but it's legal. So why are we even arguing this, right? That's the number one, maybe what I'm going to say against my topic. So when we teach this way of thinking about a piece, and we master this thesis statement by working on the pieces, you know, how does it work? It has these pieces within it. And then we craft that little piece. They learn how to, on their own, craft that thesis statement. We learned how it works. Now let's do it, right? And then, hey, you did it. Great. Let's practice it. Let's perfect it. Let's do it again, right? And so this is a teaching methodology that isn't rote learning. It's the opposite. It's actually being, you know, taking a piece, putting it under a microscope, learning how it's put together, and then really understanding first, and then practicing. So we think and we examine it, we try it, and then we practice it till it's perfect, or at least comfortable, right? And then we move on and we craft the next little piece. It might be the introduction paragraph, in one of the classes. What's in an introduction paragraph? And we go back to the same type of thing where we figure out what that looks like, what's going on inside of this, right? And then we perfect it. Let's practice that introduction paragraph. By the way, our thesis statement's the last sentence in our introduction paragraph. Connection, right? And then we practice the two together. We make the introduction paragraph with the thesis statement together. We make it great. We maybe do a couple of these introductions. And then what do? We move on, maybe to the body of the essay. So as we're doing, this is a teaching methodology that isn't rote. We don't just copy down an essay or 5 essays or 10 essays and then say, now write an essay. We learn how it works. We pull it into its pieces. We practice the pieces and we make the pieces comfortable in that it's a lot like Legos, how Legos are put together one piece at a time to be something amazing. And I'm thinking of the Lego Masters that was on TV a while ago. It was really cool. So mastery learning really looks like this. We have the first piece, we call it number 1, where we think and examine and try and practice and perfect it. Then we get a second piece, do the same thing. And then we add the first and second pieces together and practice and perfect the 2 together. Then we go to the third piece, same thing. Add 1 and 2 piece to 3, right? Practice that. Maybe then we go to the 4th piece. We go to 3, add the 4. And also, by the way, we could do 1 and 2, add together, practice, 3 and 4, add together, practice, and then clump them together. But we'd never go more than that because we want to master. We don't want to keep introducing new things because how does a student feel that they aren't able to master and feel comfortable? So we have built in mastery learning principles throughout the program. And these are principles you can take anywhere in any learning. Not to jump ahead to a new concept, break it down to its smallest piece. So it's very simple. Practice that piece till there's comfort and go to the next piece. Practice that piece, examine it, look at it, play with it, and then add the first 2 together. A little bit of discomfort when we put them together, but then that gets really comfortable. We go on to the next piece and so on. Okay, so that's a very simple example of a difference. Now, again, what's wrong with most writing programs? Often they're too wordy, which is funny because the best writing is concise and clear and powerful through excellent wielding of words, not drowning words in information, right? You'll notice in the courses, in the recorded courses in particular, when I teach, there is repetition, but it's repetition for the purpose of being able to quickly, immediately bring something up and remember something. Because I've said so many times, what are the 4 pieces of a thesis statement? Boom, 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 boom. Students can knock them right out because we've repeated. So if it's repetition that is a little bit different each time, it's still interesting, but that's not considered wordy, right? Wordy means you've just got so many words to tell one thing. That's just something we don't want in writing today. A lot of writing programs are long and boring. I know some books, some practice books, grammar books are super thick. Have you seen those? And in those thick books, they maybe practice one concept 10 times, 12 times, 15 times. My kids used to say, do I really have to do this page again? And I said, no, if you can show me that you can do it well and quickly without struggle, of course you don't. The beauty of homeschooling, right? And we can move forward. So we don't want to take too long to get to what we're learning. We don't want to take too long on a concept. And again, we can do that with homeschooling and tailor it to what our student needs. Because pacing does matter. When content repeats too much with exercise after exercise, or it goes too fast with not enough of the solidifying of the ideas first, then the students can lose interest. So that's where we can really know our student and pace it. But we've done a lot of the pacing already for you in Homeschool Connections in these classes. Another, they can be antiquated or stuck in older methods or styles of teaching and learning that have been proven ineffective by research or are not best practice. And best practices, as you know, in any field are just the best ways to do something that gets quickly to the result that you want with the most success, the most enjoyment, the most positiveness. So older programs most likely don't have cutting edge know-how embedded. And there is also tried and true, but there's tried and true put within what works, because we have MRIs now. We have information about multiple modes of learning and learning styles and all of this that MRI machines have been able to show us how the brain is lighting up and working, which we haven't had in the past. And so it's really wonderful to be using that information in designing curriculum and designing writing programs or any program. So we know about neurology, we know about the best ways to remember. Being able to use the cutting edge knowledge in a program is really, really important. We know about how to simplify information, take me shorter routes for faster results. So again, it's worth looking at newer programs, whether it's this or any other program, if they are indeed aware of research and aware of what's out there and what is best practices, and gets shorter routes to better or faster results. This is something that happens all across curriculum. So to think about that, the creator of a certain book or curriculum might not be an expert source. And you can say, well, wait a minute, how can that be? Some of the top selling programs and the materials are designed and taught by self-proclaimed experts. And as you know, in an internet age, anybody can do that, right? Primary school teachers, history teachers, middle school writing teachers have all created writing programs that are to be high school or pre-college, but they've not taught at all in college. They've not worked with college students. They've not been professional editors or writers. They don't know the end result. And so what they believe to be really great is lacking. You don't know what you don't know, is that the saying? Right? And so that's a real dynamic here and across other curricula. These experts aren't writers themselves. They're teachers or teachers of writing that aren't professional writers. There's a big difference in that. Most also aren't privy to college writing needs or haven't worked at the college board, with the college board, which is a governing body on experts on writing. They've created curricula based on other things. Many, they don't publish or edit books except for their own self-published curriculum, or they haven't been there, done that, and actually being that writer or editor. And most authors' work is corrected, by the way, by real writing experts, the editors. Now, and I'm thrilled to have Maureen here. Maureen is one of our expert writing instructors. Maureen, I'm going to call you out. Maureen said hi earlier, and I know she's here, and she's a phenomenal writer and editor, and has worked for Scholastic and my goodness, New York Times and all these other crazy, amazing places. We're going to talk about that shortly. Again, being an expert source is really important for any curriculum creation. You don't just learn a method by going to a workshop or considering yourself an expert writer just because you learned something that someone else put together. It's really important here or in any curriculum that you use. See who created it. See what their track record is. What do they do? How have they learned? How are they practicing? Here at Homeschool Connections, I'm just so thrilled that we have the head of the Chesterton Society teaching on Chesterton, right? We have a professional actor teaching acting and comedy writing. We have people who are in the field as professionals and have been for many years developing the curriculum. And so I can guarantee you that what you get here is that top level curriculum. Again, because something markets well, I can't talk. Because something markets well, we will just buy it because it looks great. And we don't know. And I've spent a whole lot of money. I don't know about you guys, but I've spent a whole lot of money on something that looks great on the surface, but doesn't do the job. So the goal of any writing program is to create great writers. So the best material, as we talked about with maybe mastery learning pieces, is this simple, easy, logical information pieces that your student is able to grasp and feel good about, and then move on to the next simple piece that they can grasp and feel good about. And as you're moving along these simple steps, just like this graphic is putting together something amazing, big, wonderful. Um, Again, I'm thinking Legos and great Lego creations. I don't know if you've been to the Lego store at any of the major Lego stores, but they have these amazing, huge creations. And I'm just remembering some of them I've seen, and it's phenomenal. It all starts with a piece. And if the pieces are put together in the right way, you get the phenomenal ending that everyone enjoys. And that's the great analogy for writing. It's also important to put them in a linear step-by-step progression, which we've done here. And each course is progressive, leading to the next, created with one overarching design. Not just, oh, I created course and I created course, we're going to stick them together. But these courses have a progression. There's something that builds on each course, the next course, the next course. So again, it's great sometimes to pull curriculum in here and then another one in here and another one in here. But then you're lacking this connection, this arch. So we have this modular pieced, arched program with a design that's intentional. I encourage you to look for any program like that so that their continuity is wonderful and your student really understands. Now, very quickly, if your student isn't working with something, don't stay with it, right? Just for continuity's sake, find what works. But I think you and I can both understand how continuity can really help the student. Well, what are the characteristics of top-notch excellent writing programs? First of all, I want to say that at least 50% of writing is thinking, which is why rote learning for writing isn't the best. Writing is coming up this ideation, coming up with learning how to think before you write. This at least 50%, I think it's more like 70 to 80, is this before this pre-writing process. And if you can master the pre-writing thinking and process, getting to the writing, the drafting and the writing is easy. And I've seen it again and again, year after year, again, teaching writing for so long with across so many institutions and groups and students, hundreds of students here at Homeschool Connections. It's being able to think well makes the writing a breeze. So ideation is what we call it in curriculum development. It's asking questions, learning to ask, well, what then? And what's next? It's critical thinking. It's learning how to think. And so you'll find that writing courses here are really based on thinking. Being able to think in a linear way using structure, because there are a lot of different structures, but all writing has a beginning, middle, and end. We call it Act 1, 2, and 3 in fiction, but it's really in all of writing. Being able to use supporting ideas and examples and explanations and exposition and things that support what your points are. Very, very critical in the linear progression of taking a reader from one thing to another thing to another thing easily. And being able to think clearly in next step pieces. It all starts with the power of words. So what words do for you and how to choose words is super important for any writing program. Not just this is a noun, this is a verb, but the power of words and the flavor of different words. And we start, by the way, our youngest students here out thinking about what are the strongest words and what are the different flavors that I can create of a word. And the words carry history with them. Words carry impressions. If I said I'm, bulletin board, I'm thinking of a bulletin board. In my room, my bulletin board is cork and it's about 20 feet long. That's my bulletin board. But another bulletin board might be a white cloth board, or it might be a small black framed cork board, or sponge board, many different kinds of bulletin boards. Bulletin board is colored by my experience. And so we talk all about this, choosing awesome words that bring specificity and a delight to the reader. The writing program should show structure of how to organize your ideas, how to frame your words into awesome sentences, how to frame them into awesome paragraphs, and what goes into that. And then how to grow those ideas into larger pieces, all the way up to a book. If you can write a fabulous sentence, you can write a fabulous paragraph. If you can write a fabulous paragraph, you can actually write a book. It's just a bunch of paragraphs together. Framing, or how to polish the structure, how to put it together. There are many structures, not just the 5-paragraph essay structure. We talk all about that here. But do you see all the pieces and parts of good writing programs? It can get overwhelming. because there are so many parts. That's why it's nice to have something where they're all put together for you. If you can pull that together, I fully support you, but I want to show you all these pieces so that when we come to this program, you can say, oh, look, it has that piece we were talking about. And again, from a curriculum development standpoint, who's developed curricula all across different programs in the US and world, it's really important that these pieces are there. So after we have all these pieces, we have to make easy to follow, right? Thorough, complete sequence, step by step, not leaving anything out. And then having teachers that are directly working with your student for complete understanding. With just enough practice, as we said earlier, to become a solid, confident writer. So you need to present it, look at it, create it, but then practice it enough so that it feels good. So writing that's taught by experts is really important. Writing taught by people who write is really important. They are authors. They are experienced teachers who write professionally, giving your team practical writing skills with passion and enjoyment so your team can love writing and be skilled at it too, because passion is, we catch passion, right? So if someone's teaching on a video or in a live class and you can see and feel their passion coming across, that excites the student, and the student can help, it can help the student learn to love that writing as well. All right. Diverse, delightful, and deep. I love these words. If you have diverse ideas and delightful ideas and deep ideas, students get excited. They get really involved in what the writing is about, and they start liking it. I've seen it over and over. Someone who hates writing, but through the easy process, it's laid out clearly, and these delightful, diverse, deep ideas, and being able to think ahead of time, and that critical thinking piece, get that solidified, these writers become happy writers, you know, for people who actually love the process. So courses in foundations, the most basic things, courses in how to develop those ideas and practice them, courses that are advanced where you really get to go delightfully deep into a subject, and creative writing. These are all parts of a good writing program. If you're thinking, you know, I just want to know, I want to leave today, not necessarily working with you all, but I want to know what I should have in my writing program. Find foundations, find things to develop and practice, find things that are advanced, and then creative. Those are the 4 parts to learn all the skills to be a competent, prepared for college kind of a writer. All right, now what are those little pieces we need? Well, we need punctuation and grammar all the way up to advanced essay writing. We need fiction writing and writing for literary analysis, and poetry and screenwriting, because that fires up a whole different part of the brain. And it actually is used in great academic writing. This is the secret that most high school writers don't know. When we get into college, we can use amazing creative pieces in our writing that are academic pieces. We can mix and blend the two. So actually we learn that here. Simple practice for paragraphs, writing a great paragraph, all the way up to college prep intense 15-page paper writing. Really, by the time we finish middle and high school, all of this should be covered in a good program. Now, of course, you know I was going to say this, that Aquinas Writing Advantage meets all of the criteria that we're talking about tonight. It was designed, most importantly, with the end in mind. That means, what do I need for college? What do I need to be to have to be a great writer if I don't go to college? What do I need to communicate well? What do I need to know? And then we took that and back designed the high school to middle school in a way that what you need here is surely complete, even way before. There's some things that are typically taught in high school that we're moved down to middle school because we can. And the way when we break them into these understandable pieces that are small in this mastery learning concept, you can actually do advanced concepts down in 6th, 7th, 8th grade writing. It's really cool. The kids love it. So I have to put my glasses on to read this. The content here is unique. It isn't copied from anything. It is created based on the foundational skills that are separated, mastered out, and my professional writing experience and years of developing other writing courses. Again, worked backward through the entire program from what the student needs at the very end for college level writing to be really successful, and then lined up, taught in a line, linear and simplified, so that there aren't any struggles, so that you can master things in a stepwise progression. And then expert, we're going to talk about this, not only designed by university level experts and professionals, but their instructors' expertise is bar none here. So it's current, it's correct, it's practical, it's research-based, it's what your team needs, learning side by side with an expert. So the courses are designed here as a regular program, foundations, where you have middle school and high school courses, 6, 7, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. So they're actually numbered in a typical progression. Not to say that an 11th grade age students can't be taking a 12th grade class, or an 8th grade can't be taking a 10th. If they've mastered those skills, absolutely, you can move forward. But it is a very linear, progressive, one course based on the previous course, kind of a lineup all the way through. But this regular program is available. What's really awesome is that many people, if not most, take advantage of what we call the excellence, writing excellence courses. These are academic excellence, pre-college prep courses, how to write the excellent essay, how to take timed test essays, you know, these very specific courses that master a specific skill. You know, advanced punctuation and grammar. For the student who just kind of really struggles with commas, you know, we have that punctuation and grammar for pre-college students. We have a full fiction writing program. And when I say full, it's full, covering every aspect of fiction writing. My terminal degree is in creative writing and genre fiction. So we have created this amazing professional level fiction writing course that even has screenwriting and comedy writing, and with this creative and expressive writing, comedy writing is new this year, and poetry by a world-renowned poet, and business writing skills, how to make that resume and write a cover letter, and that, what is inter-office communication, what are some of the terms in business communication. So we have all of this that is beyond the foundations. So let's talk more specifically about these courses. So there are 3 ways to get the Writing Advantage courses. You can enjoy them in different ways. The first is just unlimited access. We have what's called unlimited access, where you can get over 450 courses for $34.97 a month. Over 400, those are full courses, and the writing courses are all included. So if you wanted to do that, you could do all the writing courses you wanted to do for under $35 a month, plus 400 more courses that you can delve into and dive into with all these other instructors. So you're not going to find any other price point like that anywhere. For, you know, just even if that was the price just for the writing program courses, that would be phenomenal. But then we're talking 400 more courses on top of that. So you can do what's called unlimited access and get all of the courses. You can also take the unlimited access recorded courses with specialized one-on-one instructor access grading services, where you get a specialized tutor, professor, professional person. And again, these are all vetted professional, either the teachers of the program, the live teachers, or like Maureen here, who is a professional writer and editor for many, many years and has been teaching as well. And so you get this level of instruction one-on-one that you can't get anywhere else. So you'd watch the recordings, and then you would have the one-on-one instruction along with that for grading the work, giving feedback, and answering questions in between. Or you could do live courses, which are these synchronous, happening at a certain date, a certain time courses, right, in a weekly classroom. And whatever works, you can fit your family's needs. You can mix and match any of these. Many people do a little bit of each. I know as we came in the beginning here, we had some people who were saying, oh, I've done the recorded courses, or, oh, I've done a couple live courses. You know, so it's fun. You can mix and match for exactly what you need. All right. So foundations, we have middle school foundations and high school foundations. The middle school foundations are the 6-7 courses in the the high school foundations or the ninth grade students or the 9 series courses. And these courses are designed to get rid of the typical mistakes that most writers make, including the usual challenges with commas and sentences and paragraphs and the things that trip people up. And I call them free points, the points that we usually give away that we can actually get back for free. And again, writing essentials and simplified writing, those must-have how-to-write skills that make writing easier in those years. So in the 6-7 year, you see we have punctuation and grammar 1, an excellent sentence and paragraph writing, and then we revisit it again in the 2nd semester because middle school students developmentally need repetition. And so we do that. We revisit it and we ramp it up. So if we're talking about punctuation and grammar in the first semester, first half of the first semester, we come back again in the second half, or the first half of the second semester, and we bring in this, now let's make it more difficult. We bring in more ideas and more punctuation and more complex sentences and so on. For the 7-8 courses then, for the upper middle school students, we have foundations of composition, essays and papers, writing the excellent essay, and then form and style, so that when a student goes from middle school into high school, they understand there are many ways to write and many forms. And descriptive or narrative writing is going to be very different from instructional writing, which is very different from argumentative writing, which is very different from biblical writing and epistles, which is very, historical writing. So we introduce the student to a number of types of writing before entering high school so they can understand, oh, I'm going to be changing my writing based on its purpose and audience. The purpose and that's one of the repetitive things that I say over and over. Remember your audience and your purpose. Who are you writing this for? What's it for? That's going to inform everything that you do in your writing. So that's how we leave the students moving into high school, leaving middle school and moving into high school writing. So the middle school courses begin again with the 6-7-1. You can see how it's laid out in a fall semester and spring semester. And these are, people say, why are there 2 courses in the fall? Because they're 6 weeks and 6 weeks. Because remember that grid with the pieces? These are the pieces. And so we're learning very specific pieces at a time and mastering those pieces in the mastery learning concept and then moving on to the next piece. Okay, so this is actually how it's blocked out or laid out for middle school for the 6-7 year and the 7-8 year. And you can guess that you can be a 6th grader or a 7th grader or a 7th grader or an 8th grader, depending on your skills level for those classes. In high school then, remember the first year is that foundational year again, where it's essential punctuation and grammar. That's a lot more, we're going to talk about ellipses and brackets and all these other little pieces that you use in upper level writing. And then we'll talk about the foundational writing skills in a way that pertains to the college or the high school essay. And then let's move on to the excellent paragraph and essay. Let's talk about transitions more, and let's talk about how to make our writing more linear and more smooth, right? And then we have this, it's the practice part, by the way. And then we have this 5-paragraph essay. Beyond the 5-paragraph essay, now we get into things that often I would teach first-year college students about paragraphs. But we talk about parallelism, and we talk about very neat little tricks that we can use in our paragraphs to make them awesome. So you see, these are all foundations in that first year of high school. So that if we get these foundations solid, the rest of the writing is much easier. So if you look at the layout here, again, we have the very specific blocks in the fall and spring semester, but then in the 10th, 11th, and 12th grade years, we start spreading out into full semesters. Okay, see how that fits. The 10th grade year is vocabulary and writing, because vocabulary is huge to our success as a writer, what words we use. And it's also, by the way, huge for success in ACT and SAT pre-college exams that we take for college placement testing. Vocabulary is an indicator of high success in those tests. So we want to give our students lots of vocabulary, and we learn the words associated with successful college writing and practice perfecting that writing. So they'll write in sentences and paragraphs, and they'll do a lot of critical thinking in this class. We do have a couple essays we write and larger pieces, but mostly it's perfecting the smaller pieces with critical thinking. So we have maybe out of our 25 vocabulary words that we're talking about logical fallacies, something we need to know in college. And in argumentative writing, we learn about all the logical fallacies, and then we say, okay, well, let's separate these out and into two categories and tell me why these are in the categories they're in. Write me a paragraph on why you separated them out that way. Critical thinking. So then we judge the writing, but also the critical thinking of how they're thinking and helping them to think in a powerful way that's going to help their writing. So again, over 750 words I learned in the 10th grade year or in this 10th grade level. And they're associated with, again, college writing. So literary analysis words and vocabulary words that are needed for good college entrance scores. The 11 series courses then are fiction writing. And people will often say, why do I have to do fiction writing? Well, creative writing and these authoring a story kinds of writing pieces are really important to, again, coming up with these dynamic writing pieces as adults and college students, not just perfunctory, but dynamic. And that's what we're looking for, dynamic writers. So we learn about tone and voice and style and different forms of writing. And it's just a really neat way to increase critical thinking and enjoy writing too. The students actually write stories and write their books and all kinds of, like I said, we have poetry and all kinds of comedy writing and fun things like that. And you'll see that these 10 and 11th grade years are the development years. We have the foundations, and then development, and then advanced. Remember at the beginning, we talked about those sections in a program? That's how it's laid out. All right, so creative writing has all of these, and you can read them. And I don't know if anyone has studied creative writing before, but Joseph Campbell's The Hero's Journey is the archetypal structure for any story. We study that, and it's literary analysis, college literary analysis under the wire. Students don't know they're learning these advanced things. They get to college, they go, oh, I talked about that already in high school. But we have all of these in screenwriting. A lot of students really enjoy the screenwriting as well, and story structure is in screenwriting. And again, business writing with journalism and just different parts of business, pieces of business writing that you would know in business. And then finally, the advanced courses in the 12th grade year, or the last courses, are these advanced top forms that you need to know for college writing. You talk about comparison and contrast, and persuasion and argument. And we talked about all the rhetorical forms. 12.1 is all of the figures of speech and rhetoric, all the major figures of speech and rhetoric, and 9 rhetorical forms. But then we write in the top 2. Okay. Well, I shouldn't say that. We write in all of them. We'll do a descriptive essay, but the papers that we write are in the top 2. Okay. And you can see that that's the last year there. Okay. So these are senior level, pre-college, first year. If you want to really be prepared, we have this punctuation, grammar, and essay test mastery courses. We've got even deeper courses for you. We've got these poetic forms. We've Sally Thomas, our poet in residence here, is just a phenomenal poet who has many books published and won many awards. She just won another award. And then we have all of these advanced fiction writing courses available. So I'm not going to read these off. You can just kind of glance through or look at the recording later, but just all kinds of amazing courses. It is important to know that a number of the courses have prerequisites because it is this laid out program. So it's important that you don't want to skip courses. And if you have questions about that, you can always email me and I'll answer those questions. Somebody mentioned here that they took the excellent student course, how to be an excellent student, note taking, test taking, and how to get an A. And that course is completely free. Here at Homeschool Connections, it's a 4-week, 4-class course, very important. How to take notes and how to read actively and how to listen actively and how to comprehend have greater comprehension. Please look into that course. It's absolutely free for you. And then we have these other test prep and writing test prep and all the cool things that you need before getting into college. Okay. So again, you can take courses live. You can take courses in unlimited access. And there are so many courses available. This is with Homeschool Connections, 165 classes live, and many, many sections of, say, the foundational courses. We have 5 sections of the 9 series courses all across the week. So you can choose based on the teacher you like, or choose based on what fits your schedule the most. Okay. In a live course, there's an actual scheduled date and time. There's the catalog where you look in and you read, and it even lists the descriptive paragraph, and then it lists all the weeks, what you have in week 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. And then you say, yep, that's it, that's what we need. And you sign up with a simple click in, and the class begins on a specific date. So you'll get an email, much like you got an email tonight, where there's a click, a link, enter the room kind of a thing. It's very easy to do. And the teacher teaches just like I'm presenting tonight. And the students will interact together in the chat box, much like you see the chat box working here. And yes, homework is due each week. There is writing and homework in every single writing course, except for punctuation and grammar, which has in-system quizzes that are automatically graded. But if you want to do the writing part, if you want more, we have in instructor access dozens of more of extra worksheets and pages to practice more. If just watching the recording and doing the quizzes isn't enough, you really want to get it down as something amazing, we have that with instructor access. You won't find those pieces in the live course. You won't find those extra worksheets in the unlimited access. Only in instructor access will you find that extra help. Again, $34.97 a month, or if you just want to do one swipe the whole year, it's really affordable. And you can cancel at any time, by the way. And it's for all students in your family also. If you have 2 students doing writing courses or 3 students, it's all one price. They're fully embedded in what's called Moodle, which is a learning management system. And all that you need is in one page. You log in, you choose the course, you watch the recording, complete the work, parents grade the work if you're doing the straight unlimited access. If you want grading, you can get the instructor access, which is an additional fee based on that specific course and how long it is and how much work there is. Courses can be viewed on a laptop, desktop, computer, iPad, tablet, or phone. We don't recommend phone because it's so teeny, but it works. If you're in a pinch and you're out and you have to watch, you can watch on the phone, okay? We have a note here. I'm just going to peek. I've been missing all of these, so we'll get to your questions here shortly. Therese says, my son has several writing assignments each week in 4 other subjects. We love middle school live Aquinas, but finally had to go to recorded so I could adjust due dates. That's a good reason why you would do recorded. Absolutely. Do I understand correctly? In the unlimited access option, instructor access would allow us to go at our pace, but have an instructor input. Yes and no. Yes, in that we like to finish the courses within a block of time. And typically we say within 2 to 3 weeks of the typical time. So if it's an 8-week course or a 10-week course or a 14-week course, you would, 8-week would be like 10, 11 weeks you'd finish. But our teachers are very flexible. And if you want to move things, you just ask the teacher and say, is this something you're willing to do? And you too, with instructor access, would set the date that works for you. The reason we don't want to stretch out too much is because the teacher obviously is being paid for a certain amount of time and a certain amount of work, and if we keep going on that, that's not as equal for the teacher as working with another student. But that's, again, something you can work out. I know students and teachers have worked beyond, and they just say, we do a little bit extra this 2 weeks so that we can stretch it out. We totally able to work with families on that. Absolutely. All right. Again, this instructor access is where the instructors will grade your students' work, give personal feedback, and the price varies based on the difficulty of the grading and how long the course is. Okay. Franciscan University looked over the Aquinas Writing Advantage program and said they'd like to see all of their incoming freshmen take the courses that we offer here, especially the 12th grade courses. So it's just really neat to have a university, say, yep, this is it. I mean, I knew he would because I've worked at a number of universities developing curriculum for the whole university, so I get it. But it's really always fun to have someone say, this is really good, and we'd like you to do this. So here's our bank of instructors. I'm so excited. These people are amazing. You see me in the top over on the left, and next to me in the red is Robin. Ms. Robin Conley. She is a professional writer, screenwriter. She also has her terminal degree in creative writing, like I do. And she was a Hollywood screenwriter, and now she travels the world, literally. She's in Brazil right now, and teaches the writing courses here live. She teaches the middle school courses and the creative writing courses, fiction writing courses that are live, and does the grading services for the live fiction courses as well. To the right of her is Geraldine Rhea, who does the journalism course and some other literature courses. She's amazing. She has a master's in something literary, something writing, something amazing. She's just a really awesome person. To the right of her, where it's starting top row, 1, 2, 3, fourth over. Right? Do we have a pointer? I don't know if we do. We have Sharon Weiss, Heinrich Weiss. And and I'll answer that, Carolyn, in just a moment. She does the advanced courses. She is not only a writing teacher, instructor, English teacher, but she also has her JD. She practiced law for a while, and she teaches our research writing and vocabulary writing. Amazing. Can you see the pointer? If I do this, I say over here is Bonnie. Bonnie teaches the 6-7 courses. She is just an amazing middle school teacher. So wonderful with those students. And oh, you can see it. Okay, awesome. Love it. All right. Bonnie is just an amazing teacher, and also does some of her own fiction writing and fantasy writing. Bottom left, we have Nick Wilson, who's joining us in teaching live courses in the 9 series in the fall, but he is the assessment director here and works with the assessments, and we'll talk about those shortly. Maureen, there you are, Maureen. Maureen Ryan is here in the room tonight, and Maureen, as I said before, is just a fabulous writer, editor, teacher extraordinaire, and does the instructor access for a number of courses. In the center bottom, we have, gosh, why am I blanking on his name? Help me out, Walter. I can't believe Kevin O'Brien. Oh my goodness, Kevin, I'm so sorry. Kevin is an actor. You might have seen him on the Theater of the Word and EWTN. He's wearing his little jacket in that picture, his little shirt. And he's teaching comedy writing. He's a comedian of his own right, and has done so many audio books and live presentations and television shows. And he's a television host, and he's teaching comedy writing this year. I'm so excited that he's joining us. Then we have, it must be late and I need coffee because I'm starting to blank on my names. Donna Grazios has the beautiful curly hair. And Donna designed the Word course here, learning Microsoft Word, but she also does some other instructor access grading. And then we have Sally Thomas in the bottom right corner, who is an amazing award-winning poet. And she teaches the poetry courses here. And she just won some, like I said, some amazing writing award, first place. And so what I said earlier, we have professionals, we have people who are writers and writing and editing and been there, done that people. And oh, I forgot to say that in the bottom left corner, Nick he graduated from Yale, and he's getting his PhD in philosophy and theology. And aside from being a college instructor, grading, writing, and all that, he's got all this other stuff he does too. So brilliant people. I'm so thrilled to have all of these wonderful people teaching here. Just the quality of instruction is phenomenal, and I'm happy to bring that to you. We have a question from Ava. If I had my high school student jump into Aquinas writing program in the 11th grade, would you just begin the 11th series, or are there prereqs she'd need to do first? That's a great question. I always recommend that at least there's watching some of the 9 series courses on, because of what's in the 11th grade is foundational again. There's some foundations. I really recommend the 9 series, even if it's just watching the recordings and not doing all the work, but watching how we talk about things and the way things are taught, like that thesis statement, right? If you get into the 12 series courses and you haven't learned how to easily do a thesis statement like that, it can be harder. So the prerequisites help your student to enjoy and have an easier time of the writing. Okay, does that make sense? If my son is starting in the 8th grade, what are the prerequisites? Another great question. It's a very similar question. Over the summer, you might want to watch the 6-7 series courses. Just watch them. Don't do the homework. Just watch. Or you might want to say, hey, just do that for fun. You know, go ahead and write this sentence. You know, there are 5 sentences and with some silly basic nouns, and write some really awesome nouns for me. They could be some really fun summer courses. Okay. So, and if you have any specific questions, again, you can email me at ebconroy@homeschoolconnections.com, and I'll put that in the chat box here later. Well, the elementary writing course, which may be taken in conjunction with the grade school unit study, transition a student into the middle school 6-7 courses. Great question, because the elementary writing courses that are brand new this year are kind of a delving into creative writing a little bit. They're just to get the students thinking more. And it is really, I don't know the exact content of those courses, but I know that we have designed, I've asked the teacher to design it so that it easily flows into the 6-7 courses. Yes. Okay. Is MLA formatting and citation taught in high school courses? No. And here's why. Here's why. We talk about formatting very much so in style guides. The 2 major formats used across the United States are the Chicago style and the APA, or American Psychological Association style, right? University of Chicago and APA. And pretty exclusively, most universities use those 2. MLA is used if you're an English teacher. Okay, they're used in the field of English and very rarely for other areas. And so if your student's going into English, they'll want to learn MLA. But for most all other careers, it's APA or Chicago. And we tend to do Chicago because most of the research coming out now is that most are using Chicago. It's a little bit more of the universities are using Chicago. But we teach all that, there are many style guides, and we teach all the students about style guides, right? And we say, here are the differences, and here's what you want to do. You want to find out when you're a junior or senior in the college you're going to, you want to find out what their style guide is and learn it now, so that when you get there, it's easy, right? Okay. All right. Does your writing course include enough grammar for middle and high school students, or should we study additional grammar? I think it's enough. So we do not diagram sentences, because to me, it's about writing, using words, building that word bank, and arranging those words well. So we talk about it. And we don't need diagramming to do that. And that is my very strong philosophy over many, many years of developing writing curriculum. So if you're looking for diagramming, you'll want to go somewhere else or find another additional piece. I don't think it's necessary. In fact, I think a lot of students' love of writing was squashed with diagramming. And you can get the same results, if not better, without diagramming, by talking about the parts of speech, which we do in middle school, and making those, and some in high school, very little, mostly in middle school, making those parts of speech strong. How do we do that? What is a noun? How do I make this dog? Dog's not strong. Dog is too broad. What about a dog? What kind of dog? Is it a poodle? All right, now let's use an adjective. What kind of poodle? Is it a miniature apricot poodle? You know? And so we start talking about ways to create strength and specificity in our writing, and we don't need diagramming to do that. So I want students who love to write, and I want students who can come up with ideas quickly. And I'm coming again from a college writing professor standpoint. I want students who enjoy writing and can delve into and be creative and come up with ideas, and this ideation piece is easy for them. Okay, does that make sense? All right, I'm going to move ahead because of time. We had just put something up about the assessment, and the full assessment is $57, which has an essay analysis and feedback, a questionnaire to match your students' writing goals, and a punctuation and grammar quiz that covers all of the punctuation and grammar that you would need for entering college. So again, this is something that measures out your student, high school student's ability measured against a first-year college student need, okay, a status of where you need to be. If you want to do just the punctuation and grammar, it's $22, and you get a report back. It's about a 20-page report, by the way, for the full assessment, where it's each of the writing questions are analyzed and broken down. And so we say your student will want to work on commas in a series and commas with conjunctions, or your student will need to use the by the way clausette. That's a fun way we say it here. The commas that are pieces and sections that are in addition to the main sentence. And we give very specific feedback. Okay. All right. Again, here's Nick Wilson, who is, he's a PhD candidate and master's degree from Yale and a university instructor right now, and a philosophy theology specialist and a former Catholic high school teacher. And he does the writing assessments, and we'll be doing some of the 9 series teaching in the fall, in the live classes. The free How to Be an Excellent Student class, please look that up. I think that it's filling up. We want to make, if you want the free class, make sure you check that out soon, right? And I'd like to leave you tonight with what I call the most important truths about writing. So it's not just about, here's the writing program. You might say, this looks really good, let's check it out. And you might say, maybe not. It's here for you. We're here for you. I encourage you, you can actually get the unlimited access for $1 for 7 days and check everything out and go in and look at different classes and look at, watch a couple different levels for $1. At the end of the 7 days, if you want to keep the unlimited access, you let it ride and it flips over into $34.97 a month. If you at that point say, no, then you just call or email and let us know. And then it was just $1. So just really encourage you to check it out. But no matter what happens, let's leave you with some of these most important truths of writing that you can help your student with. Number 1, help your student understand that writing is rewriting. Writing is a process. It's not just sitting down and boom, you're done. And most students think it's that. And so from a very early age, if you can help the students understand that, again, this at least 50% is thinking, what should I write? What am I writing about? How do I organize that? What are some details? Asking questions and getting more information is part of writing. And then when you put it down that first time, it's never the way it should be the first time for anyone. I don't care who you are. Stephen King has a book called On Writing. Not that he's not my favorite writer, but he has a book called On Writing that shows some of his drafts with the editor crosses and marks and X's and black all over the place. And if you look at the Constitution, the first drafts of the Constitution are all blot, scribble, right? Writing is rewriting. And so helping your student understand that as a truth, writing it, maybe put down on the wall, writing is rewriting. It never comes out right the first time, and that's okay. That's the way it works. Good writing is taught with the end in mind. So backworking what is needed to be a good writer academically for the best communication together, whether it's here or anywhere else, is really important. Always, it's a good principle. What do I need to have at the end? Okay, what do I need to do to get to that? Now let's do here. And if your student can see that, your student can see where they're going, and even sharing with them, this is how the program's laid out, and you can see where it's going, or this is where the class is laid out. You can see where it's going. It helps the student to have those benchmarks and feel good about learning and growing and becoming better. Good writing covers 3 areas: foundations, development, creative, four areas, not 3. Advanced rhetoric. I kind of think of creating and advanced kind of together because creative is part of being advanced, right? And so again, look for writing in all these areas. Very, very important. Don't make it just foundations, because then people will hate writing. My goal is to make the foundations fun and easy. Not all curricula does that, but just this creative writing and advanced fun stuff is important to have. Also, good writing breaks skills into specific pieces of information and teaches, again, in segments. So if your student's struggling with something, simply take time and say, let's just do this thing. Let's just write some sentences. Let's just write this piece And let's not try to do a big piece. Let's just do one thing and make that one thing really easy. It's just a great way to learn. All right, and here's something that you can take with and write on the wall. So to have your students self-check. And these are the questions to say, is it clear? Is it concise? Does it make sense? Is it ordered and linear in a line, right? Does it make steps? There's nothing missing, right? Does it grab my attention and keep my attention? And does it give me at the end, so what? We always teach here, so what? Why did you write this? What's important about this? What does the reader leave with at the end? It's not just a summary. Conclusions aren't just summaries. They are, what's important about this that I need to take to heart personally, or for the world, or my community, or my neighborhood, or my family? So what? What does this mean to me and to you and all of us? So these are the pieces of writing, the truths of writing, that you can actually post on the wall, and if they want to turn something in, say, oh, check this. Is it clear? Is it concise? Does it make sense? Read it out loud. Does that make sense? You know, and so they can learn to self-check, self-edit. Again, not all writing programs are equal, and not all teachers are equal. So good writing teachers are good writers. Watch for that here or anywhere else. All right, now I'm going to be able to take some questions before it says thank you for coming, but I want to make sure that I answer all of your questions. And you can also email if you have to scoot, because we are at an hour and 15 exactly. Look at that. We nailed it. All right. Students can take the assessment at any time, but I recommend that the student is in high school. It is a high school assessment. You can do it in summer, school year, whenever, and it's available for you. Okay, any other questions that you all want to put in the chat box? Or did I miss any questions? Walter, you want to type any or come on the microphone?
No, I think we got all the questions thus far, but if for any reason we didn't, if I missed something, feel free to write it in again. We'd be happy to take the question. This is a perfect time for it. But I believe we've captured all the questions that have come up in chat thus far.
Good, awesome. All right, here are some more coming in. Thank you for sending them in. Is the assessment required for entering high school? No, it is not. Nope, that's just an extra. It's a bonus. If you want it, it's there. It's there for you. But no, if you're going into high school, or if you're 9th or 10th grade and you want to start, or if you're an excelling 8th grader, just start right in those 9 series courses. Yep. And like I said, in the live courses, if live works good for your family, if your student loves that live accountability, if you love the live accountability as a parent and your student loves the live interaction, then there are many sections of most courses. Some of the upper level courses, we only have maybe 2 sections. And the fiction writing courses, I know we have very specific times for those, but most of them have multiple sections that you can choose from.
Aaron, we did have another question come in. It's not so much a question, it's more of something you can address.
Yeah.
I think it's a message sent to you about addressing learning issues.
Oh, right. Yes. If you have a student with dyslexia, or a student who has ADHD, or a student who has a learning challenge of any kind, instructor access is a really, really good option. And message me and tell me the particulars, and we can actually match you with teachers within courses for instructor access. We actually have teachers who are available for special students for tutoring. This is something I don't typically say here because I don't want too many. It's only for students who can't be serviced well within what we have with recorded courses, live courses, and instructor access. Most students fit into those categories, but we do recognize that there are some students who have some specific learning challenges, and we would like to work with you with that as well. So just let me know, okay? All right, let's see, we have this. I have students specifically interested in technical and science writing. Do you foresee a course in that time anytime soon? That is a great question. Technical writing is a unique field unto itself. I would love to add that class next year. Let's add that next year. We don't have it for this year. But what I would encourage, even technical writing and science writers need all of the other skills. And believe it or not, the creative writing skills help technical writing. I don't know if you know how many people who are doctors and scientists and engineers and real high level NASA people who play musical instruments and write stories and write poetry and write, because those same areas, those areas of the brain work together. If you know anything about neurology, they kind of overlap and work together. And those who do music and arts and creative writing actually do better in the sciences. They blend. So cool stuff available for that student too. Yeah. Great question though. Other questions at all? You see something, so another course that you like? There's a new course I'm adding this coming spring live. That is write your science fiction fantasy short story. Because we have so many students interested in science fiction and fantasy. And so we have a how to write the short story class. And then you can go straight from that into writing a science fiction, a publishable, ready to go short story. That's the goal at the end of that class. So very fun. Very fun. Anything else? No, we're all good.
There are no other questions.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for coming. If you have any questions whatsoever, homeschoolconnections@gmail.com is the general place to go, and just say, I'd like to talk with a certain teacher or a certain subject questions. We're here for you. And ebconroy@homeschoolconnections.com is my email. Feel free to use that to reach out to me. Okay. One last thing. In the next, shall I say it, Walter, 2 weeks?
Yeah.
2 weeks, the new Aquinas Writing Advantage website will be up, which is dedicated to the writing program. So be on the lookout for that. Will be announced on Facebook and other social media channels, and maybe even on email. We'll see. We'll let everybody know that it's there so you can go look at it. Okay. All right. Thank you again, and have a great evening, and I hope to see you soon. Bye-bye.